Hi friends, this is Ankur from upsctutorials.com, and in this video we'll be discussing about the foundations of Indian polity. We'll be looking at the concept, and in the next section we'll be looking at why a constitution is needed and the types of constitutions. Okay, so as we all know that the constitution of a country is the fundamental law of the land, on the basis of which all other laws are made and enforced. It is also sometimes called grand norm or suprema lex. Grand norm or suprema lex, which is known as the basic law of the land. These are Latin terms, and the meaning is that basic law of the land. Okay, now there was one professor known as K.C. Weir who described constitution as the superior or supreme law with perhaps greater efficiency and authority, higher sanctity, and more permanence than the ordinary legislation. The word constitution describes firstly the whole system of government of a country, the collection of rules which establish and regulate or govern the government. Secondly, the word constitution also describes the collection of rules which may be a mixture again of legal or non-legal rules. Okay, the legal rules are embodied in statutes. Legal rules are embodied in statutes. Now, in some later video, we'll be discussing more extensive detail of what is legislation or the statutes. For now, you don't have to know the details. It's just an overview. So we are looking at the foundations of Indian polity, and we are just overviewing this section. We are not going into the details of everything. So it is important to know that from the earliest times, however, people had thought it proper to write down in a document the fundamental principles upon which their government for the future should be established and conducted. And the Americans in 1787 declared, "We, the people of United States, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America." So since that time, the practice of having a written document containing the principles of government organizations has been well established, and the word Constitution has come to have a meaning. So it came up from the American Constitution, the word itself, and the Constitution is supplemented in particular by legal rules enacted by legislatures. Okay, thus while a constitution may establish certain principal institutions of government, certain important branches of constitutional law, for example, establishment of government departments, they are not embodied in constitution itself in many countries. Okay, so hope you have noted this down, and now I'll give you in short the basic principles about the constitution. Okay, so I'm just rubbing this off. So in short, the term constitution refers to a set of rules and principles which first define the nature and extent of government. Okay, what constitution does? First, define the nature and extent of government. Secondly, regulate the relationship between institutions of legislature and judiciary. Okay, that what will be the relationship between legislature and judiciary. Thirdly, regulate the relationship between state and citizens. State here refers to the government itself. The constitution will regulate the relationship between state and citizens. What will be the relationship between both of them? And lastly, establish broad rights of individual citizens. So in short, what constitution does? It defines the nature and extent of government. Secondly, regulate the relationship between institutions of legislature and judiciary. Thirdly, regulate the relationship between state and citizens. And lastly, establish the broad rights of individual citizens. Okay? Therefore, a constitution is the fundamental law of an area from which all other laws and rules are hierarchically derived and is called the basic law of the country. So, what is constitution? I hope the definition of constitution itself is clear, and before starting your preparation for Indian polity, you should be aware that what actually constitution does. Okay, how it regulates the relation, and these are the basic central themes. We'll be expanding these themes as we go on to read Indian polity later. As you can see from the contents and from the Indian polity booklet, which you might have received by now, and you can see the chapters are divided in such a manner. Now we'll move on to the next section, need for a constitution. The constitutions are often framed after profound disruptions of some kind of reconstruction after defeat in war or revolution or following attainment of independence. So these 3 points are to be noted, that a constitution is usually framed after a war or when a country gains independence or after a revolution, because after a revolution an old form of government is being replaced by a new form, so a written constitution may be required, as it may be required in the case of an independence or after a war. So the first need for a written constitution arises from the need to limit the power of parliament. In UK, where parliament becomes the sovereign lawmaking body, no constitution could be drawn up to limit the powers of parliament. Therefore, the country does not have a written constitution. This led certain countries in the 18th and 19th centuries to frame such constitution which would limit the power of legislature. Okay, so this precedent started from UK. Another reason why countries needed a written constitution was to precisely define in a federation the division of powers. Like in India, there is a division of power between the central and state government, and the written constitution specifies the divisions of power. So, hope this is clear, that why do we need a constitution. The first is written and unwritten constitutions. The second is federal and unitary, and the third type is confederation. So, as you might have seen in the 10th page of your booklet, page number 10, you'll see the detail that what is a written and unwritten constitution, which country is following the written constitution, which of the countries are following unwritten constitution, and what is the difference between a federal and unitary constitution, and what is a confederation. So you can refer to page number 10 of the booklet, and if you have any query, then you can always call us or mail us, and you can always send us a WhatsApp message on this number 9721 8468. So this is the fastest mode of communicating with us, because if you'll send a mail, then it may take up to 24 hours to reply your mail, and if you call us, then times it may happen that the faculty members are not present, query is not instantly solved, but via WhatsApp it can be instantly solved, or you can mail us at sales@ltsacademy.org. So this was all which we wanted to discuss in this video. Later videos we can go in and discuss more of Indian polity and few of the more complex concepts. So see you in the next video. Bye bye.